Basically, Linux, it's been developed. There's operating system called Unix. Anyone knows Unix? Unix is the operating system which was developed and introduced by Dennis Ritchie. I mean, the person who developed the C programming. And many of them telling like it was initially created by him, and later no, it becomes open source. Open source means whoever want they can use it actually. Whoever want they can use it. By the way, right, when you are coming into Unix operating system, nowadays people are using many operating systems, right? Something like RHEL, something like Ubuntu, okay, something like CentOS, something like Amazon Linux, something like Kali Linux, something like Fedora, something like SUSE. So all these operating systems, right, which has been derived from the source Unix operating system. So once it become Unix become open source, what happened? Every organization earlier, whoever manufacturing their server hardwares, right, they are started giving operating system along with that, something like IBM Unix, HCL Unix, and Solaris. The people HP Unix. So the people who are manufacturing the hardware, server hardware, they are also providing operating system. But nowadays it's not exist because it's developing operating system. It's not a it's much thing, but the maintenance rate every month we have to provide some security patch. We have to properly update the device drivers. We have to properly provide the operating system updates. All these things, right, coming to the picture where the IBM, HP companies and all not continued their operating system support, I believe. Okay, so later, no, they predominantly these whatever you are seeing in the screen, RHEL, Ubuntu, CentOS, Amazon Linux, all of them, right, become easy and it's more flexible, you know. So that is the reason we have these many flavors which are derived from Unix operating system. Okay, so there are majorly two companies which ruling Linux industry. I can tell you, one is Red Hat, another one is Debian. Okay, so when you take any server, when you are launching it, so it's one of the Linux operating system actually. Okay, so whatever in the AWS console or whatever, right, you can find a option. It looks same like your operating system. Okay, it looks same like your operating system of Windows. There is no much difference actually. There's no much difference. Anyway, so when you look at my Red Hat and Debian, there are multiple flavors, right? See, RHEL fall under Red Hat. It's product of Red Hat actually. CentOS, it's a product of Red Hat, and Amazon Linux, it's a product of Red Hat, and Fedora. Sorry, not Amazon Linux is a product of Red Hat. It's a separate, it's product of AWS actually. When you take Fedora, it's a product of Red Hat actually. Debian is a company. Ubuntu is the product of Debian. Okay, these are the major operating systems, right? People are mostly using nowadays currently. Okay, because the HP Unix, SCO, Solaris, those things, you know, nowadays people are not much. The latest grooming client I'm talking about. Okay, the people from sorry,
Half and Linux. For the Docker, we have the.
Yeah, it depends. So I'm talking about the direct server instead of Docker images. Okay, maybe many flavors are there. Okay, because you know it depends on the client, but most predominantly, right, people focusing on RHEL, CentOS, Ubuntu, these kind of flavors. That is what I'm telling. Maybe one or two. I might not be aware because the client, whatever I worked with, right, they are predominantly using these are the operating system. But maybe some people know they may be using it. But most predominant things people know using these are the flavors. Okay. Fine. So coming to what are it is giving this many variations. How will I able to learn it? It's quite complex, right? What is the difficulty in learning RHEL, CentOS, Fedora? So one thing you guys have to understand: these four operating systems, right? Red Hat and the AWS, whatever flavors comes in. The interface is same. The command lines are same. The platform that we are working, that is same, and there is no much difference. If you know any one, you will able to manage remaining three. If you know RHEL, you can work with CentOS, you can work with Fedora, you can work with Amazon Linux. If you know Amazon Linux, you can work with RHEL, you can work with CentOS, you can work with Fedora. There is no much difference actually. So what people are telling, Red Hat, no, the company, they are using Fedora for testing any application or driver when they are newly releasing it. They should test it in the Fedora, then only they will launch it in the environment. People know in production, they will use RHEL and CentOS widely. So Debian is a separate track actually. I'm not telling it's different from my RHEL or Amazon Linux, but Debian, no, command lines are somewhat it will vary. So but concepts are exactly same. That's not a much different, but small variation will be there in the command line. So I'm not telling you should not be able to learn Ubuntu, nothing like that. Same only, but slight commands will get changed. Nothing big deal actually. But based on my understanding, they can even control Ubuntu. There's no much difficulty in making it. Okay, fine. So here, right, let me launch the instance in AWS. Let me launch the instance in AWS. When I launch the instance in AWS, right? So in Windows instance, usually we'll authenticate to what? In Windows instance, basically we'll authenticate to logging in by setting up the username and password, correct? But when in AWS you are launching any Linux server, right? So you won't be able to log in through by default username password. There is something called key-based authentication. There is something called key-based authentication. Okay, you remember when we are launching any instance, we will get something called PEM file, key pair, AWS key pair. So what we need to do, there is an application called Puttigen. There is an application called Puttigen actually. Okay, if you come down, you need to download. There are two applications. One is Puttigen. Okay, any one flavor, whatever you comfortable, you just download Puttigen. Okay, and if you go there, right, you will have to download this Puttigen and Putty, two application you're supposed to download. Okay, so here they given various variations, 64-bit, 32-bit. Okay, whatever you want, you can download it. So Puttigen and Putty, you need to download it. So the Puttigen, the application used for converting my PEM key into PPK. Okay, so we cannot directly use PEM key to log into my Linux instance. We need to convert them PEM key into my PPK. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. See, this is the application. Looks like when you download Putty and Puttigen. Let me open this. So here you need to load your key first. The PEM key that we are downloading, right? Whenever we are launching the instance, we need to load this key. Click on load. So if I go to downloads, I'll be getting many things. Let me change all files. See, for example, we were PEM. There is my PEM key. Let me click on open. Okay, successfully imported the foreign key, open SSH key, something, blah blah blah. Sorry, everything has been given. So this is my key pair actually. What I need to do, there is an option called save private key. There is an option called save private key. Click on save private key and see. Sure, you wanted to save this key without perhaps protected. Yeah, click on yes and save it in any of your location. Okay, just say it will be storing like this PPK format. If you click on save, it will get stored over there. Okay, so that is the purpose we will use this Puttigen. So once the key has been converted, what you can do, you can use Putty application to take SSH of your AWS Linux. Once the Puttigen has been done, then you can convert the key. you can use putty application. Putty application, I have it here. Let me close this. This was some unwanted thing. Okay. Now what I gonna do? Let me open this putty application. If you go and take my AWS console, I have created a Ansible master Linux server, right? What I'll do, as usual, I'll copy the public IP. First, I'll put it in this console, and if you go to SSH, and if you go to authentication, right here, you need to browse your private key for authentication. We have saved in our desktop, right? So let me open that. Once I open, so it will be asking you login as. The default user always should be EC2 user. In AWS instance, when you are launching, there's something called default user is AWS user. So this is also varying. When you come to AWS Linux, we have a multiple flavor, right? What are the flavor? RHEL and Amazon Linux, the default user should be EC2 user. Ubuntu, the default user going to be same as Ubuntu. The CentOS, the default user going to be CentOS. Got it? These are the default user when you are logging to AWS Linux machine. Okay. Fine. Now what are we gonna do? Yes. Anyway, we have logged into my putty application. So let me increase the font. It looks very small, right? So what you can do in putty, you can go to change the setting. You can increase the font size. Whatever font you want to, you pick that and apply it. By the way, you can find it. So this is the one way of accessing your Linux server. This is the one way of accessing your Linux server through putty. That is something flexible, you know. Coming to the this part, right? Ansible master server. There's another option. There is an option called connect. In the console itself, if you click on connect, it will take you to EC2 user. The default user, EC2 user. You click on connect again. The new tab will open. See, same console you're able to see over there also. Here also I can go and I can do the stuffs. Okay, here also you can do it. This is one of the way, but here, right, when I'm doing copy paste, when I'm doing some actions, right, it will be quite difficult. So it's something flexible, you know. It's very much easy, and I can change the background color, I can change the font. So that's why we'll prefer to go with this. Okay. And one more thing you all have to keep in mind, this option, right, which has been recently introduced, taking console of your Linux instance in another browser tab, right, has been recently introduced. Initially, this option was provided by GCP only. Based on GCP, Azure Cloud bought this option. Now even AWS copied them, they bought this option. Initially, when AWS was giving an instance, right, we have only one option to connect through putty. So recently, I can tell you in the last 1 year, we are getting this option, opening this console in the browser tab. Okay, it's up to you guys. Whatever you are comfortable, you can open it. But the good advantage is when you are coming and using like this, you don't want to convert anything through Puttygen. You can directly open it after launching the instance. You can come there, you can click on connect, it will take you. You don't want to converting the file, nothing. It will take care by default. Okay. So that is about the advantages, but anyway, this will give you more control. That's good. Fine. Now we have entered into my Linux server, right? Since we have entered into Linux server, you can find this is my username. EC2-user is my username. This is my host at the rate of host name actually. This is a location currently where it is in. Okay, and this is the dollar symbol. When it gives dollar symbol, we are logged in as a normal user, not the root user. We are logged in as a root, not a root user. So in order to switch your user to root, because when you go to root, right, you will have more privilege. So what we can do, sudo switch user root. The sudo is the command, right? In Windows, we are whenever you are opening any command prompt, it will run as administrator. You remember? So when I type cmd here, say run as administrator, we'll give run as administrator in Windows, right? It's somewhat similar. When you give sudo, it will execute the commands with super privilege actually. Okay. So now I'm giving sudo su means switch user into root. Every Linux machine by default it will have the user called root. He is the very highly privileged user in my AWS, not AWS, all global Linux machines. Okay, let me hit enter. When I hit enter, you can see here there is something called root. It's my user currently, and this is my particular host name of my machine, and this is the location EC2-user. So if I give pwd, it will give you the present working directory. When I give pwd, it will give you the present working directory, which directory I am being part of currently. See, Linux, no, it's completely made up of files and folders. People are telling completely made up of files and folders. So that's why, see, I'll first, before getting into Linux, we have to understand the case, which is Linux file system hierarchy. There's something called file system hierarchy. Usually, no, you refer this site only. I'll tell you what this is about. See, when you take a Linux operating system, any flavor, any kind of mechanism or any flavor of operating system in Linux, if you take, they are mostly following. This is the best file system architecture. See, a Linux operating system, the starting point, there is something called root directory. Linux operating system, the starting point is something called the root directory. Don't want to confuse. Already I told something like a root user, and this is a root directory. That is a dedicated user which has super privileges. This is something a directory, the home location in your operating system. So literally, no, we have a C drive in Windows, right? It's somewhat similar, where it's the place where we are starting our operating system. So that is something called a root directory here. Under the root, no, you can find there is a subdirectory called bin, boot, dev, etc, home, lib, media, mnt, opt, sbin, srv, temp, user, proc. All these subdirectories will be there. When you take any operating system of Linux, this should be there. See, if you wanted to see in our Linux machine also, I can show you even. This is a Linux machine, right? What I do, I'll change cd means change directory to root directory. See, the same mention I think I've done. See, it's taken me to root. When I give pwd, it will give you present working directory is root. In this place, if I give ls, right? In this place, if I give ls, it's giving you all these folders. There's Ansible folder which I created by default. Basically, that won't be there. See, lib, bin, boot, home, whatever you are seeing in the screen right in the background. Same thing. Almost all these things should be there. etc. All the component, right? Proc, root, run, srv. All these options, you know, you are able to find it. What these directories are about. So as I said, root is the starting point of your operating system. If you go in each and every directory, right, these are having a dedicated activity they are doing. Actually, see, for example, if you go to bin, essential user command binaries. For example, when you are going into these specific, bin directory, right, you will be able to find some essential user commands are available. What are the commands? The easy to user was executing command, right? Switch user root, pwd, all these commands will be storing over here. So the boot is static files and bootloader. It's literally same like your C drive Windows directory in every machine. The operating system bootloader content, the operating system configuration file for booting our Linux machine, whatever the required configuration, all these things are available under the boot directory. There was the device file. I mean, like when you are connecting your hard disk, when you are connecting your drives, multiple drives, those comes under the DAV. When you take etc, right, that's very, very important directory of my Linux. All your configurations, see, for example, you're going to configure something in your Linux machine, you're going to install something in your Linux machine, the specific configuration file will store under etc. It's something similar like our Windows program files. Actually, Windows, we have a program files, right? It's something similar to it. And home directory, users home directory. You remember just before when I gave pwd command, see, it was giving ec2-user. What is meant by users home directory? See, under a directory called home, ec2-user. I mean to say, ec2-user was the first user we have logged in, right? So that user has some directory profile under the home. So you remember in Windows we have a document, downloads, desktop, such thing also available in Linux also, but those are fall under this home directory under EC2. If you create a second user, third user, something called Hari user, something called high tech user, something called Dinesh user, all this users home directory will fall under this /home only. Okay, so when you connect libraries, right, your shared libraries will be there. When you have the media, the removable media, external hard disk, external pen drive, okay, all these things should be there. Fine. Similar way, each and every directory, right, has their own duty and responsibility. They are taking care of their individual work and operations. Okay. So end of the day, we have to understand root directory is my starting spark of my operating system, and these are the subdirectories. They are doing their own work actually inside of it. Okay. So let me give clear command. When I give command called clear, it will just wipe out my terminal. This is something called as a Linux terminal, the one we are working currently, right? That is something called as a Linux terminal. Okay. So what I do, I'll give pwd command. It will just give you the present working directory. When I give ls command, right, it will list whatever the subdirectories are available inside of this ls. When you give cd and the directory name, right, it will change your directory from the current directory to, it will change the directory to the respective place actually. So when I give cd ansible, it will take me to ansible folder. See, from the root directory, it takes me into ansible directory. Then I give pwd, now it will show like /ansible because I am in this particular location. Understood? Anyone has any confusion still now?
Hari, I have a query. When you log into server using Kupti, so first of all, you download the PEM file from AWS, right?
Yeah.
And then convert it in TPK.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, fine.
Sudo run the commands with okay, sudo checking the present working directory. In addition to that, we will be cd location. Okay, clear? To wipe the terminal. Okay, fine. Now we are going to see some of the basic commands. So when I give history, right, it will give you all the list of command, whatever the command you are worked, right. These are my old command which I practice, right, that commands are showing, but today we have just started working on this command only. It will give you the list of command which are got executed, and if you give the date, right, it will provide you the current date and time, everything. And if you give ifconfig, right, it will give you the IP address information, everything. See, this is my IP address. Okay, history, date, ifconfig, history to display, date. What is the date we can mention? Let's display. ifconfig. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so let me come back. Currently, I'm in pw/ansible directory. In order to come back, right, what you can do, you can give double dot cd double dot. It will take you to that place, or you can give cd/. It's up to you. Okay, cd double dot will take you one step back. Okay, fine. Now, if I give ls, it is giving the same list of directory. If I give ll, it will give you a long list. Same only. Ansible Ansible, bin, boot, dev, same thing, only showing it's something called long list. It'll show you the date when it has been created and who's the creator, who's the owner, that information. Long list, there's something called LL. Same like LS only, but it's giving you the long list with the details. Okay, fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new directory. Okay, for creating new directory, mkdir is the command, and the directory name, right? It's supposed to be like, we'll give it like high-tech AWS training. So we'll create like this. Okay, so let me hit enter. If I give ls, right, I should be able to see the directory called high-tech AWS training. The command called make, this is something a folder name. Create a new AWS directory. Create a new AWS directory. Now I wanted to go inside of this directory. What should I do? So click on CD, high-tech AWS training. So usually, right, I will not type the whole thing actually. CD, when I type HI, if I press tab key, it will automatically fill. I don't want to type the entire thing. Okay. So now I'll go CD high-tech training, something like that. If I give pwd, I should be able to see I'm in the root directory under I created direct root path, and I created directory high-tech AWS training. I'm in that particular location. Okay, I'm in that particular location. So fine. Now I what going to see here. You know, if I give ls over here, nothing should be there. You can't find any file because we haven't created any file. In order to create a file, right, there's a command called touch. In order to create a file, there's a command called touch. Touch or touch ht.txt. Okay, when I give touch command, if I give ls, you should be able to see ht.txt has been created. So touch command is to create a file. Create a new file. Okay, so touch command is to create a new file. That's good. Now what we're gonna do, if you ht.txt, right, that's fine. So if you can see over here, yeah, now I'll give like vi. In order to add any content into the ht.txt, as of now, right, the cat command to read the content in the file. Actually, when you give cat, if you hit enter, you will be able to read the content. As of now, there is no content inside of it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some content into, say, vi ht.txt. When I give visual editor, this is okay. So when I give ht.txt, if I give the enter, it will open the file, it will allow me to edit. So once I open the file, what I need to do, it will be look like this only. What I need to do, I need to press on I key. So now only after I press I, it shows insert. Now only I can start type. Hi all. Thanks for. I'm adding some content. Thanks for adding. Tomorrow we do not have a sessions. We'll meet you all by Monday. Hari. Okay. So like that, I've added some content in that. So once I've added the content, what we will do, it's currently, you can see something called insert, right? You need to press the escape key. Once you press the escape key, it will go away. The insert will go away. Now you need to press :WQ. W for write, Q for quit. Okay, let me hit enter. So by the way, it got saved. See, I'll show you, don't worry. So after touch command, we can give the cat file name After cat, in order to edit anything, right? Vi K2 okay. When you give vi, right, the subcomponent, what you have to understand, press I to start write. Second one, after you write the content, after you added the content, what you need to do, there is something called press escape key. After that, colon WQ. This is for write and quit. Okay, so this is what we'll be seeing it. Now if I give cat, right, cat ht.txt, so you should be able to find. Hi out, thanks for attending AWS of real-time project training. Tomorrow, Saturday, right, we'll have a Monday to Friday only sessions, right? So tomorrow we don't have session. We'll meet you all by Monday. Thanks and regards, High-Tech. Team High-Tech. Okay, this is the content which we have in this particular file. Makes sense? Able to understand it? What's going on? Anyone has any doubt till now? Anyone has any question? Is it clear, everyone? Please acknowledge if you have a clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
All right, fine, guys. Now, what we're gonna do? Okay, I just aligned in proper way. Fine. Now, what we are going to do in my case, right? So let me clear the screen. Okay, if I give ls, I should be able to see h3.txt. Now, what I do? Touch. I'll create a different file. Test.py. I created test.py. Now we should be able to see two files are there. We give ll also, you can find two files are created. So if you go to my home directory, see, I created a High-Tech AWS training, right? I'll just see like one more directory like mkdir High-Tech Azure. I'll create one more directory called High-Tech GCP training. I'll create one more directory called High-Tech DevOps training. Something, okay. So if I give ls command, see, High-Tech AWS training, High-Tech Azure training, Azure DevOps training, and GCP training. So as of now, someone tell me we have a content available on this particular location only. We have content available on this particular location only. I'm going to transfer the file. I'm going to copy a file to this location. From AWS training to Azure training, I'm going to copy it. See. Okay, when I go inside, if I give ls, I should be able to see two files are there. What I'll just copy this test.py file. For the command is cp test.py file to which location? Root this particular directory. High-Tech Azure training. Okay, when I hit enter, right, this will be copied to this particular location. This will be copied to that particular location. That's it. It's been copied. Okay, in order to move the file, cut and paste, you will be using the command called mv. After that, you can give so ht.txt. We can move to this particular directory. Now, if I give ls, I should be able to see only one file because this has been copied. One copy will be available here, one copy transferred to Azure training directory. This has been cut and paste, I mean moved. We have transferred the file. So here you won't be able to find this file. If I give ls, see. Hey, sorry guys, there is a typo, I believe. Why this came here? HT Azure training. Test.py is supposed to be copied over there. Copy test.py. Okay, sorry, I didn't mention slash over here. So what I did, it created a directory inside it is there actually. Okay. So what we need to do, let me create one more file. Touch dot 123.txt. Now to move that, right, mv 123.txt slash, I need to put slash. Last time I forgot to mention the slash, that's the reason. Okay, now we can transfer. If I give ls, you're not supposed to see this 123.txt file. So now I'll click on clear screen. Okay, if you go to this directory, you're supposed to see when I give ls, see this has been moved, this has been copied. Understand? So the command for cp file name destination location. Same, only one command will vary. There's something called loop. This is for copy paste. This is for cut and that's it. Okay. So these are the basic fundamentals we should be aware of, guys. So when you are working in Linux, this basic commands, right? These are really important actually. Okay, so to be frequently working with the Linux, right? This is something really important actually. Okay, so next thing, right? We have to be familiarized with. There is something called Linux authentication. So right now, how are we authenticating into my Linux machine? Key based, right? Key based authentication. It's something called it as a passwordless. Agree with me or not? Currently, how are we logging in? Currently, how are we logging in?
In a browser, passwordless.
Yeah, we are doing password. I wanted to make it in the password based. There is option. So when you go to a Linux machine, right? You click on the screen. There's a file called vi slash in the etc location. There's a path called ssh underscore config. So we are taking SSH into my Linux machine, right? There is a configuration file available, sshd underscore config in above location, whatever you are seeing here. If you entered into that file, right, we will able to convert my passwordless authentication into my password based authentication. We'll able to convert my passwordless authentication into my password based authentication. I'll show you how to do that. So go into that, open that file. This is a configuration file, looks like this only. Come down. Okay, there's an option here called see permit root login. So there currently no, this has been commented. So we need to uncomment it. So just now we have removed the hash. When I remove the hash, right, it's something similar like uncommented. Now we are permitting root to login. And if you scroll down, right, second option, there is something called see password authentication. Currently they given us a no. We need to change this as to yes. Okay, we need to make two things. One is open the file vi slash etc sshd underscore config. In that file, when you open that file, right, first one what you need to do, permit root to login. So you need to uncomment it. Uncomment it. Second one, you need to password authentication. You need to set it like yes. Okay, you need to make these two changes in this file. Once you have made the changes, right, just save the file. Once you have, once again, guys, once you have made the file, right, just to save this. After that, what you need to do, you need to restart the SSHD service. Okay, so working with Linux services. How do we start, stop, restart? Okay, so in this case, right, what I'm gonna do, there's a command called systemctl. Okay, restart SSHD. So every Linux command, right, when you are wanted to work with so working with the service, It will start from systemctl restart service name. This command is to restart the service. This command is to start the service. Command is to stop the service. And this command is to stop the service. This command is to stop the service. Okay, fine. Now, so this is for a latest version of Linux. If you go older version of Linux, the command will slightly vary. Service, service name and restart or something. So going forward, you don't want to worry. Currently, most of the Linux are supporting this way only. Okay. So let me hit enter. Have restarted the service. Now what you need to do? You need to set some password for root. So command is password root. It will ask for the password 1, 2, 3 or something like that. Give anything. Okay, password tokens are updated successfully. The first step you need to do. This is the second step you need to do, restarting the service. And third step, set some password to root. So once you have done right, what you can do, just to go to your AWS console. This is our server, right? Actually, Ansible server. What you can do, just to copy the public IP, open this putty, you can paste the IP. You don't want to go SSH now. You don't want to go authentication now. Instead of going there, what you can do in the session itself, directly paste the public IP. Click on open. It's asking for username, right? Directly you can type root. Instead of providing EC2-user, directly you can provide root. It will prompt for the password. Now you can give the password whatever you have defined. Now it will take you to this shell directly. Okay, this is how we will set up the password based authentication. Okay, this is how we'll set up the password based authentication. Understand? Any doubt in this?
No.
Simple, right? So try that. I'll share the recording, right? Follow this recording and try this. You'll came to know. Okay. Fine, guys. Now finally, I'll complete the session. Just to give me 2-3 minutes. There's something called I wanted to install some application. I want to install some package in Linux. How are we gonna manage it? There is something called yum and RPM. Okay, yum is Yellow Dog Update Manager. The full form of yum is Yellow Dog Update Manager. RPM in Red Hat Package Manager. Earlier, right, older people using RPM packages only for installing something. But the drawback in RPM, right, when you go with RPM based installation, all the dependencies you have to collect, you have to fulfill the dependency, then only you can install any sort of application. But when you come to yum, right, it's Yellow Dog Update Manager. It has capability to bring all the dependencies by its own. So what you can do, yum install package name. Yum remove package name. It will uninstall it. Yum update package name. It will update it. The package which you want to update, no, it will update. Yum info package name. It will give you the information about that particular product. Understand what I'm telling? So, see, for example, you wanted to install some application, something, whatever. So, see, yum install Docker. See, there's an option. We have to install yum install Docker. So, when you click on enter, see, it will collect all the information. It will start install the Docker actually. Any package you want to do, just type this command and install in package name. See, it's asking you whether you wanted to proceed further or not. So just for example, I said it, I click on no. So if you give yum install, yum info, so it will give you the information about the particular package actually. See, package name is Docker, architecture available, see, 32-bit, 64-bit. This is the latest version. This is the size, 32-bit size. This repository is going to download. This is what the summary. This is what the URL where we are going to download this particular package. And license, the open source or whatever, and description, what it's going to do. Okay, Docker is an open source engine that automates the deployment of the application.